What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out. And this is a different type because G1 is flying solo today. He is by himself. That is right. It is just going to be me. Because I should get my geek card revoked. Because this weekend was Star Wars Celebration weekend, and I had no idea. Zero. Had no idea this was happening. And, is that a testament to me not paying attention, or is it a testament to Star Wars not being what a lot of people want it to be? I'll leave that up to you to decide. But that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Star Wars Celebration. There's going to be some other things in there too. We're going to talk about that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer they unveiled at the celebration. That was pretty freaking cool too. I'm going to get into that. But I mean, yeah. I did not know that Star Wars Celebration was this weekend. Easter weekend, by the way. Happy Easter, everybody. To those who celebrate. Day Jesus Christ was resurrected. Return of Christ. So, happy Easter to those who celebrate that. Return. There's a lot of returning. Some of my favorite things, some of my favorite movies have Return in the title. For instance, Return of the Jedi. It's one of my all-time favorites. Well, that movie turns 40 this year. And later on, thanks to Star Wars Celebration giving me the info, later on this month, they're going to drop it back in theaters. Now, I don't know if they're dropping the special editions, the Blu-ray edition, or if they get crazy and just go back and drop the original theatrical edition, which I actually saw back in 1983 when I was about 4 years old. I remember that. I love that movie. It is my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. My all-time favorite. To me, it's the best one. And I know Empire Strikes Back, in everybody's eyes, is the best one, and I can't knock it. I can't knock it. It is definitely the first movie I saw where the bad guys won, and you're just like, what's going on? But Return of the Jedi just had everything I wanted out of Star Wars. Everything that I fell in love with Star Wars with the first movie and Empire Strikes Back. It had, the epic space battle at the Death Star. It had the lightsaber duel, which to me, I mean, say what you will about it. To me, the Return of the Jedi lightsaber duel is probably the most emotional lightsaber duel. More so than Obi-Wan, Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, which is the best looking lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars. Make no mistake about it. That is the greatest fight. But to me, more emotion in Return of the Jedi because it's father-son. It's Luke trying to get his father back no matter the cost, even though he says, then my father is truly dead. That with the Emperor back there just egging them on. Man, it is definitely the best, in my opinion, lightsaber duel when it comes to emotion and story beats and just hitting on a certain level. And then it has, seriously, it has a freaking land battle scene, which we didn't get. We had the beginning of Empire Strikes Back in Hoth, but this was great, just running around the forest moon of Endor, taking out Imperials, Stormtroopers, Chewbacca, and a couple of Ewoks swinging on top of a freaking chicken walker, jumping in, using it. It's beautiful, man. It's poetry in motion. I love it. Return of the Jedi, seriously. I mean, the freaking Rancor. I mean, look, the fucking giant monster. That was actually pivotal. Because the only time you ever seen a giant monster, two to be exact, was, not even giant, a Wampa, which is basically the Yeti. So I couldn't consider him a giant monster. But then the giant space slug that the Falcon had to make some repairs in during the asteroid belt. I mean, but they didn't do nothing. The Rancor was an actual physical thing that had its moment. Had a moment. It was a giant monster. It was like King Kong sized. 1933 King Kong. It was great. I loved it. Freaking perfect. Jeez, I still remember. Man, I think I'm gonna watch it after I do this podcast. I might have to. But no, I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna go see it in theaters. April 28th, apparently out here in the States, and I think it runs to May 4th. But it's worth noting. It's funny. I saw A New Hope, the special edition in theaters. I saw The Empire Strikes Back, the special edition in theaters. When I saw that movie, and me and my wife had just started dating. We were about a year in, and yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time, but I didn't go see Return of the Jedi special edition in theaters because from the trailers, the commercials, I felt like they ruined it. I mean, not ruined it. I mean, you can't ruin a perfect movie, in my opinion. But things that they added, I was just like, ew, it looks terrible. I don't know. And maybe also because at that point in time, you know, being a pure geek wasn't as welcomed as it is today, for instance. So, you know, you kind of still gotta keep your street cred a bit. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna see this. I have the movie. I had the movie at that point on VHS and DVD like 3 times over. So it's like, I'll just watch this. I'll buy it when it comes out. I was into collecting like the box sets and stuff because that was a thing back then. So that was that. But I owe it to myself. I owe it to myself to go see this movie in theaters. It's the 40th anniversary. And like I said, I remember being in the theater, bright-eyed, wide-eyed, 4 years old, going crazy. Like, what is this? What is this? And yeah, I remember that as a 4-year-old. I remember that because that movie was something special, and it still is to this day. True story. It's the first Star Wars movie I owned on tape, and I think it's because my father stole it from a video store. True story. You guys remember what video stores were? I mean, like, come on. Like, I swear to God, and I still have it somewhere. I still have it. I think it's in my Holy Grail box. It was in a brown plastic case. I don't remember the numbers on the side, but that's back in the day, the video stores would put the numbers on these cases they would have. So when you go up and say, I want to rent such and such, and then they go in their computer and they check to see if it's in or out, and then they go, you know, in the back and pull the tape for you. And I have it. And it is the legit VHS copy. It's got the 20th, it's got the sticker on it. It's a 20th Century Fox. It is Return of the Jedi. It's not a bootleg. So maybe that's another reason why I love that movie so much, because it was the only Star Wars movie I owned. So we watched that shit hundreds and hundreds of times. So that could be it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. So I cannot freaking wait to see the best, my favorite Star Wars movie on the big screen, Return of the Jedi. Star Wars Celebration, the only reason why I realized it was on is because when I woke up Friday morning, I didn't have to go to work because it was Good Friday, and I go on these social medias, and I start seeing a lot of Star Wars Celebration things, and I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on? Did I miss something? Is it Star Wars? Because honestly, I didn't see any promotion. I didn't, and maybe it's because I think I know what it is. Back when I ran the G Show Facebook page, and we shut it down at the beginning of this year because we made 10 years. 10 years is a good enough run. It was time to shut it down. But because I haven't been running it, I haven't really been actively searching for all things geek. I would wake up in the mornings, usually during a 10-year stint, and I'd go on and I'd browse every freaking outlet to see if anything major happened. So I haven't been doing that in the past 4 months. So if they were promoting it, I missed it. I don't go on Disney Plus often. If I go on Disney Plus, it's to watch some Marvel stuff, maybe a couple of freaking old school Spider-Man cartoons, and a couple of Star Wars things. I usually go. I have not watched The Mandalorian this season. Another reason why maybe my card should be pulled. But I have not watched one episode of The Mandalorian this season. Not because of anything I've seen or heard. Although I've heard a couple of things that is like, well, it's repetitive and boring. I don't know. To each their own. I thoroughly enjoyed Mandalorian season 1 and 2. I am looking forward to season 3. Maybe I'm just letting it build up so I can binge watch, because there's nothing better than binge watching. But yeah, so I haven't really been on any of that stuff. So I didn't know. But the first thing I saw that I was like, what the fuck, was the Ahsoka trailer. Oh my God. And listen, that character, Dave Filoni, he created a fucking character. Do y'all remember when that character first came out? In the terrible, possibly not the worst, second worst Star Wars movie of all time, because I don't care. The Last Jedi to me is the worst Star Wars movie of all time. I get a lot of slack for that. I don't care. I hate that movie. I absolutely hate that movie. And yes, it is absolutely because they killed Luke Skywalker. Fuck y'all. Eat it. But I remember when Ahsoka Tano came out in the terrible Clone Wars animated movie that was canon. And everybody hated her. Everybody hated her. I didn't see that in the theaters. I did not. I was like, I'm not going to see no cartoon Star Wars movie in the theater. I just ain't. I'm not doing it. But then the show came out, and you start to sing a different tune when you have an episodic TV show dropping weekly that is as good as Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And a lot had to do, obviously, with Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship and getting to see Anakin instead of in the movies where you can only do so much within a 2.5 hour framework, where you can flesh him out and you can see his progression to being one of the greatest Jedis of all time and why he would turn in Revenge of the Sith. But along the way, you also had Ahsoka, who, again, everybody hated. And she became a fan favorite to such an extent that she has her own show coming out, live action. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. When she popped up on The Mandalorian, what is that, season 2? Season 2. When she popped up on The Mandalorian season 2, come on, man. When she popped up in Rebels, I think it was the last episode of season 1, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And it's all credit to Dave Filoni, who we're going to get to in a minute too, because that dude has finally gotten what I always wanted. That's his own movie, and we will get to that in a minute. But yeah, they showcased this Ahsoka trailer, and it is absolutely the Star Wars I want. And that's not to say that whatever Star Wars is out right now ain't something I want. I just haven't watched it. Like I said, I haven't watched Mando season 3. Book of Boba Fett, honestly, the only Book of Boba Fett episodes I liked were the episodes with the Mandalorian in it. Like, honestly, I was a little disappointed with that one. And in hindsight, I don't even think you needed to, show that. But for what they're trying to do, I understand why it was necessary. But this Ahsoka trailer, it's our first look at the Rebels crew, which I'm lying because we've seen Zeb in Mandalorian. Now, I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but spoilers abound. It popped up. I seen that Zeb was on The Mandalorian, and I was like, oh shit, that's dope. Zeb from Rebels. They CGI'd him, and he's in Mandalorian. This is freaking awesome. So and Steve Bloom came back to voice him, which is, of course, the greatest thing. I can't wait to see that. I should watch that tonight. Maybe I'll watch that tonight. But yeah, we've seen live action Sabine. We've seen live action Hera, which, holy crap, I had no idea Mary Elizabeth Winstead is playing her. That's crazy. I love that actress. She's playing Hera Syndulla, bro. Wow. In a post-Return of the Jedi universe, which means she survived the entire Star Wars trilogy, the OT. And she was there. She was there from Rebels. She was a part of the Alliance. They call her out by name in Rogue One. She's there. The Ghost is in the final battle of Rogue One. So she's there. So the fact that she survived, the fact that Zeb survived, the fact that Sabine survived, it's great. I love it. I love it. I love that these characters are alive after the fall of the Empire. And this whole show is them going after Ezra. Now, remember, that was at the end of Rebels, the final season of Rebels. It was like, we're going to go after Ezra. We got to go find Ezra. Because at the end of that, he and Grand Admiral Thrawn were whisked away by those space whales to a far distant corner of the Outer Rim. That was it. And that was it. They was gone. They were gone. They were gone. It was a great way to write Thrawn out of the story, because if anybody is a Star Wars historian, that's funny. If anybody knows their Star Wars lore, before Kathleen Kennedy turned it into Legacy, which I don't count, although I have to, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command is where Grand Admiral Thrawn was first introduced, books by Timothy Zahn, and it was I wish they would have turned that into a trilogy of movies. Like when those books came out, could you imagine Star Wars coming out in the 90s, but not The Phantom Menace, the sequel trilogy based off of those books? Oh, freaking Christ. That would have been gorgeous. But it seems they're doing it now. They're doing it now. It's just not with the original cast, not how it was in the books, but with these characters that Dave Filoni created for Star Wars Rebels. And honestly, I'm all for it. This trailer rocked. This trailer was dope as shit. I love seeing Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I love seeing her on screen. She has a certain thing where she commands the scene. You could see it. No pun intended, there's a force around her, man, that I'm just like, yep. And I felt it in Mando, and I feel it in these trailers. There is a scene where Sabine is looking at a hologram of Ezra, so it's our first look at live-action Ezra without being in actual action. But I was happy for that. You see Grand Admiral Thrawn, his back, as he's walking, and she says, Grand Admiral Thrawn is claiming to be heir to the Empire. Great line. There's also a secret trailer out there that they only screen for people in attendance. But if you look, you'll find it where they actually show Grand Admiral Thrawn's face. I almost said Grand Theft Auto. That's funny. But you see Grand Admiral Thrawn live action, straight up, chest up, shot, and he looks fantastic. He looks dope. I gotta be honest, I didn't like the way Grand Admiral Thrawn looked in Rebels. I thought he looks... I was like, it's animation. You could at least kind of make him look like the book covers, maybe even a comic book. I digress. That's a personal thing. But shit! In that bootleg trailer I seen that nobody was supposed to see outside of people in England right now, in London, I loved it. I loved it. So this is, they're going after Ezra. They're looking for Ezra. There are two Siths. I think they're Siths. They're wearing cloaks. They got red lightsabers. Although I saw something where they said they're not red. If you look closely, they're actually orange, or like a dark orange, like a blood orange almost. Which, now to think about it, holy shit, they are. Fuck. Crap. I gotta watch that trailer again. But off the bat, I thought the first Sith Lord that we saw was the dude in the cloak, white beard, red lightsaber, which is actually now blood orange. I thought it was Jerusalem. I thought it was the Mad Jedi himself. But apparently, I'm wrong. Apparently, this man's name is Baylan Skoll. So, new character to lore. We'll see what happens. There is a Sith woman who I absolutely love just from this one trailer, because she has this fierce kinetic energy that, in all honesty, I wish the Inquisitor sister from the Obi-Wan show had. And don't even get me into that. I didn't like the Obi-Wan show. I think that's why I took a break from Star Wars. No, I'm lying. It wasn't Obi-Wan. It was Andor. I did not like Andor. I'm sorry. I just did not like it. But this woman, this Sith woman, she comes into a bridge of not a rebel, can't say rebel, New Republic ship, and it is lights out. Lightsaber is up, force gripping off to the side. The captain of the ship starts shooting at her. She's just deflecting, one hand, ping, 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 and you can see this rage in her eyes. She's just coming. She's coming. It's scary. It's like if Darth Vader was like legit mobile instead of being all clunky like a robot. She was coming. I said, "Oh boy, run out, run away!" I jump out the damn window. I don't care. I'd rather let space take me than let her. Her name apparently is, and I love this. Her name apparently is Shin Hati. Now Shin, that's funny. Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider. But that's her name, Shin. Shin Hati. I thought she looked dope. And I really can't wait to see what her thing is about, what her story is about. In the trailer we weren't supposed to see, she's actually fighting Sabine with a lightsaber, which was crazy. I loved it because I was like, that's right, duh. Sabine was training in Rebels to be a Jedi. She was somewhat force. Was she somewhat force sensitive, or she just wanted to train to know how to use a lightsaber? Good God, I gotta watch that shit again. Forgot. But all I know is she can handle herself. Remember when she got the dark saber, and then gave it away to Bo-Katan. Random. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Sabine versus Shin. Shin Sabine. I want to see it. But no, there was just so many things, man. So many things with this trailer that I thought was freaking awesome. Literally. Ahsoka has a run-in with this Balin Skull in a room, in a ruin, I should say. And off the bat, I thought it was the world between worlds where Ezra saved Ahsoka in that episode of Rebels where he can see the future, he can see the past. Oh man. After The Last Jedi came out, I was like, you need to use that to bring back Luke Skywalker. Fix everything. That's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. That's what I thought it is. I'm not sure. Because then I seen something that was like, nah, it's a star map. It's a star chart. And I'm like, shit. Because then it kind of did look like Star Wars type star charts. And I'm like, shit. You have this MacGuffin to save Star Wars. You do. Bring it all back. Mark Hamill didn't get his damn due as Luke Skywalker of the future. He got played. And Mark Hamill deserves better. Harrison Ford didn't want to do Star Wars. He wanted to get killed in Empire Strikes Back. So when they kill him in The Force Awakens, fine, so be it. As Palpatine would say it, so be it, Jedi. Even though he's not a Jedi. But so what? Fine. All right. No problem, Harrison Ford. Now you don't have to come back. Then it was tragic. We lost Carrie Fisher. She wasn't talking about kill me off. No, she actually passed away. It was tragic. So what do? They scramble. They scramble after The Last Jedi. They scramble to put together scenes, to cobble together a sequence so she can be in Rise of Skywalker. Ugh. I'm jumping because I'm crazy. I'm just. It gets me crazy when I start thinking about this. Look, y'all gotta understand one thing. As much, if you're watching this and you're a fan of this page, as much as I love Godzilla, and I do, it is our number one thing when it comes to this channel, the Godzilla Block Party. I love talking Godzilla with my peoples. I love talking Godzilla with G73 Chase, with JR, with Gam Z1. With Maddie G95. I love talking Star Wars. I love talking Star Wars Godzilla with all of them. I love it. Love it. But Star Wars was the first thing I absolutely loved as a child. because I had access to it more than I had access to Godzilla. Granted, Godzilla would come on, back in Brooklyn, Godzilla would come on Channel 9 or Channel 11 every so often, like every other weekend or something. It was there. Thanksgiving, you get the King Kong versus Godzilla. You get the marathons, right? But Star Wars was, if you had a VCR, readily available. So I would watch it religiously as I got into my teenage years and started working, where I can buy every single box set of Star Wars that came out. And again, this is before the prequels. This is all on VHS. I'd come home from work with a sandwich and a 1 liter of 7-Up. And I'd throw on Star Wars. Usually it would be The Empire Strikes Back because, believe it or not, there's so much knowledge in that movie you can gain from. It's not just the puppet talking to an actor. There is some knowledge behind these words that is being shared to us. And I took that and I used that in approach to my everydays. And it works. And it works. Star Wars is one of the greatest things. As I'm sitting here in front of my computer doing this, I have, my wife bought me a Star Wars 2 little pins. And I've had this thing, I don't even know for how long now, almost 10 years. And it's Leia on one side, Han on the other side, and it's her saying I love you, and he's saying I know. And I have that like right here, front and center of my computer now. Flanking it is Godzilla figures. Because again, peanut butter jelly. That's what it is. But my love for Star Wars is deep. It's the most. So I stayed away. I stay away because I'm baffled by the inconsistencies of this last trilogy. Inconsistency with the story. It drove me crazy. It's not cohesive. What are we doing? Look at Marvel. Disney owns both the views. How could we not do what they're doing? It made no sense. It made no sense, and it really took a lot out of me as a diehard fan of Star Wars. It crushed me. They had some fantastic actors in play. Seriously. I know a lot of people want to talk shit about the actors and actresses. No, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's what they're being given and what they got to work with. Why do you think Harrison Ford wanted to get killed off in Empire Strikes Back? He was looking at this like, this is not the type of stuff I want to be doing. Yet, and I'm not saying that that's what made Harrison Ford a household name. Far from it. Because he went on to have the most successful career out of everybody involved in Star Wars. And that's not a lie. That's a fact. But look at Harrison Ford. He was like, I don't want to do this. But he did. He gave it his all. And you could feel it. I could feel that coming from the cast from the sequel trilogies. They were giving it their all. But there really was nothing there. Nothing in terms of story, quality. There's no cohesiveness. It was terrible. You got all-star cast. Adam Driver's fantastic. He's fantastic as Kylo Ren. He's probably the best part of the sequel trilogy, honestly. And I love Daisy Ridley. I just felt bad for her. Everybody wants to shit on her. It's not her fault. You could put anybody in that position. Hell, let's reverse roles for a second. You look at Padme, right? Oh my God, why I'm drawing blanks all of a sudden? Holy crap. Natalie Portman. Oh, wait, there it is. Look at Natalie Portman. Look at her. Look at what she was reduced to. She's a great actress. She rocks. She rocks. But reverse those roles. Let's say Natalie Portman was Daisy Ridley's agent and we used Natalie Portman. And she already had, remember, Daisy Ridley came out of nowhere. Like she was like a nobody. When they casted her. I think that was done on purpose because they were like, all right, you don't know her body of work because she really doesn't have any. Bringing in somebody new. And she could have, and she's shown in my book, in my opinion, She did a damn thing. She was absolutely on point. They just gave her bad shit to work with. And it sucks because, you know, when you go back and look again, in hindsight, Star Wars is always great. You got the OT. Everybody loves the OT, right? The original trilogy is what it is. But think about how that prequel trilogy was received when it first came out. People were just liking it because it was Star Wars. It was kind of like, oh yeah, Star Wars. But them diehard fans, and I can't lie, I'm one of them. I walked out of Attack of the Clones, and I was like, yeah! It's my third least favorite Star Wars movie. Like, I don't like that movie. I really don't. I'll watch it all the time. There's some spectacular sequences in there. I love the chase on Coruscant. I love the final battle. I do. I love when the clones show up on Geonosis. I love it. I even love, honestly, Yoda versus Dooku was what it was. But that movie is bad. It is terrible. It is fucking terrible. And again, you look, Hayden Christensen, that was like his first major acting gig. You've got Natalie Portman there, and she's got to recite terrible lines when they were on the boo. It's fucking frustrating. It's frustrating. I love to see how now not Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen, he's getting his props. He popped up on us this weekend in Celebration, and the crowd just went crazy. They went crazy. And justifiably so, man. I always felt bad for that kid. I never blamed that kid. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. George Lucas said, I want the most wooden acting of all time. Perfect. Perfect. Just say the lines. Don't even worry. Just say it. Perfect. And it sucks. And it sucks because you know for a fact, as an actor, they want to give it their all. Not here, oh, don't worry about it. The special effects behind you is going to make it so much better. You'll be fine. Come on, man. That's what Star Wars was. That's what it was. Nowadays, Star Wars is a little bit different. And I don't want to get too much into the politicalness of it, but it is. It does get political. There is a huge amount of people who hate Star Wars now because they feel it's become one thing and one thing only. I don't personally believe that that's the reason, or that's it. And I'm talking about woke culture, obviously. Personally, I could care less. I really could care less. But if it's not a part of like the main story, if there's not like a love triangle or nothing like that, to me, that's where it starts to, maybe they forcing an issue if they don't have to. That's fine. Okay, so you look at, for instance, the end of Rise of Skywalker. You have two people of the same sex kiss in Celebration. So what? I don't personally care. You know why? Because that literally is 1 second of a film that's almost 3 hours long. And there are so many more reasons to hate that film than that. But, and I hate to go to this place, but I'm going to use this as an example because it's the perfect example. You take something like DC's Young Justice, which I love season 1 and 2. Fucking love it. But this last season, Phantoms, I believe, they started to push. It's like they were force-feeding these things. And in the beginning, I'm like, I'm okay with some of this. But then it just literally becomes blatant, like, this is what they're doing. That, to me, was too much. I don't see Star Wars doing it like that. I don't. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen, everybody knows, Kathleen Kennedy coming out and saying what she used to say. That, I agree with everybody. You can't come out your face, Kathleen Kennedy, and be like, yo, this ain't for the Star Wars fans of old. This is for a new generation. No. No, if it wasn't for us Star Wars fans of old, you wouldn't be in the position you're in right now. So stop that bullshit. That narrative needs to end. She needs to go away. Kind of like Vince McMahon in the WWE. She needs to go. You gotta go. You've got to go. You look at somebody like Dave Filoni. You look at somebody like Jon Favreau right now. And they are giving Star Wars fans, like me, exactly what we wanted to see since the end of Return of the Jedi. That's a fact. Dave Filoni had to eat so much shit because of Ahsoka in the Clone Wars movie. And yet, here we are. And he is fucking praised because of Ahsoka. His creation. His baby. And where she is, from the very beginning calling Anakin Sky Guy, to where she is now. It's crazy. There is still Star Wars there for everybody to love. People from all walks of life. You can still love it. I don't understand why you can't. I don't understand why you can't. But when you have somebody like Kathleen Kennedy talking about it ain't for us anymore. No, it's always been for us. You can't take that away from us. You can't take that away. And I personally, I can't speak for nobody, just for me. I personally love nothing more than to share Star Wars, because that's what I used to do when I was younger. Hell, my wife, when we was dating, she ain't never seen Star Wars. I wanted to cry. I said, no, we gotta break up. You ain't never seen Star Wars? I never wanted. You never wanted to. We gonna break up. She my wife now. God made her watch Star Wars. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. Just pay attention. Just watch it. Just watch it. And it's exciting, to see that convert. A couple of my peoples back when we was younger. Again, like I said a little before, one of the reasons why maybe I didn't see Return of the Jedi special edition in theaters is because that geek culture shit wasn't as prominent as it is today. Like, you get beat up for that shit. That's a true story. That's a true story. So you have to tiptoe yourself around that shit. But you know what I used to do? I used to take some of my peoples, some of my boys back in the day growing up. They know who they are. Sit down, watch this shit. Come on, we gonna watch this shit. You ain't never seen. Come on, sit down, watch this shit. And we will watch Star Wars. And we will watch A New Hope. We will watch Empire Strikes Back. And we watch Return of the Jedi. And at the end of it, they would look and be like, holy shit, this is great. Yeah, I know. It's fucking great. It's one of the best things ever made. You can't go around, Miss Kathleen Kennedy, and anybody that supports that idea of hers. Y'all can't go around saying it's not for us anymore. No, it is. Because it's people like me who has made fans out of our love for Star Wars. You can't take that from us. We bringing you clientele. And what are you doing? You shitting on us. You telling us it ain't for us. Look. I used to go to Toys R Us when I was working. When they started re-releasing the Star Wars figures back in the day, the green boxes, I would buy them. I'd buy them. They still in the boxes. I got 3-4 totes full of fucking Star Wars toys because I'm a supporter for the cause. I got like 17 Lando Calrissians. Why I got 17? I don't know. They only made 3. But you can't come out your face and say it ain't for us no more. We made you. We made you. Take a break real quick. I'm going to put this fan on. It's hot in this room. All right, we back. Okay, I got the fan on now. It's getting hot. I was getting hot. I was making myself angry. I'm sorry. But I look at all the Star Wars stuff, everything that we got out now, everything on Disney Plus, and I applaud it. I do. As much as I might not like some of the stuff, I did not like Obi-Wan. I didn't. I thought it was a complete contradiction in a lot of ways. Now, is it cool to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back on screen together as Anakin and Obi-Wan? As Anakin and Darth Vader? Yeah, that was freaking dope. But there's so many contradictions. There's no reason. I always thought that when they saw each other on the Death Star for the first time, that in a long time, that's where it should have been. But I digress. It was more the whole little Leia thing, which, by the way, I don't care what anybody says. That little lady portraying Princess Leia was Carrie Fisher. I swear on everything I love, somebody did some voodoo stuff and brought the spirit of Carrie Fisher and put it into that young lady. That little girl was amazing. I absolutely loved her, and I bought her. I bought her portrayal of Princess Leia. I did. She was perfect. I dug it. What I didn't dig, though, was she should not have remembered Obi-Wan. I don't care. I know that's a bigger can of worms. She should not have. He should have mind wiped her or something. That was terrible. That was terrible. I don't think they said anything about a season 2 of Obi-Wan, and there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. But that's cool. I'm glad, I'm glad I didn't see none of that, because honestly, I probably wouldn't watch it. I would just be like, now you're really poking the bear now. Obi-Wan should be left to his own devices, studying in a cave, learning the lessons of the Force with Qui-Gon Jinn in the afterworld, or whatever comes next. I'd be fine with that. Let's talk about, we'll switch it up before we go back to Star Wars, because there's still some Star Wars stuff I want to talk about. But I got to talk about this Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer. I have to. Indiana Jones is one of my favorite franchises. Now, I love it, right? Don't get me wrong. I do love it. It ain't on the level that of my love for Star Wars Godzilla, but I do love it. It's in my top shelf of favorite movies, alongside Star Wars and Godzilla's, Die Hards, Shaun of the Dead, Transformers the movie, The Last Dragon, Flash Gordon, It's up there. There's a lot more. Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, okay? Just to name a couple. I don't want to name them all. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Return of the Living Dead. I'm just saying. The Fog. I'm just saying. These are my top shelf movies, right? These are the ones that they got to stay up top no matter what. And the Indiana Jones movies are up there. All 4 of them. Yep, because say what you will, I really dig Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. Is it my favorite one? No. But do I hate it? No, I do not hate it. I actually like it a lot, because I am a sucker for alien stuff. And Spielberg, well, Close Encounters and E.T. He ain't and War of the Worlds. I'm just saying. Even though now I think about it, I think War of the Worlds came out after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not looking it up. Anyhow, I digress. So this one, though, Spielberg's not doing. I don't even think George Lucas is involved with the script, which is crazy when you think about it. That's their baby. Indiana Jones is George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's baby. That's, seriously, could you think about that, though? That collaboration. Are you kidding? It's crazy. It's crazy. You talk about peanut butter and jelly before. That's peanut butter and jelly. I mean, granted, Lucas can't direct, but the dude's a visionary. The man is a visionary. He really is. And all you got to do is look at they are celebrating what that man had created 40 plus years ago. They're celebrating it. They get a whole fucking weekend. Crazy. This Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny trailer, this one, holy crap. Got my theories, man. I don't know, but I got some theories. You see in the trailer, Mads Mikkelsen says Hitler made some mistakes, and with this thing, I could go and correct those. So what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking is, this thing is a time machine. In the trailer, we see de-aged Indy, right? Now, granted, maybe that's an adventure from days past. Kind of like at the, in the beginning of, Last Crusade. You see young Indiana Jones going for the Cross of Coronado, right? Shout out to Coronado High School, by the way. Going for the Cross of Coronado. And then you see him get the hat, right, at the end of that sequence. And then the hat goes down. The guy puts the hat on his head, drops River Phoenix's head down. Then the hat comes up. And then I was Indiana Jones, right? Modern day. Handles the business. I love it. Belongs in a museum. So I see things like that, and I'm like, all right, maybe it's a flashback. But then there is one particular sequence towards the end of that trailer that I go, wait a minute. I don't know how I feel just yet about it. Because, again, out of context, I don't know what is. I can only say what it looks like. And to me, what it looks like is Indiana Jones and his goddaughter releasing the giant freaking ball of death from Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's what it looks like. To me, that's what it looks like. And again, I don't know, because it's literally a 2-second clip. I don't know, but it looks like it's in that temple. It looks like they release it instead of when Indiana Jones, instead of it being a booby trap. And that's why I'm like, it can't be, right? Because I don't think director James Mangold would mess with a classic, right? It's a booby trap. You take the idol, and then this boulder's gonna come and crush you. End of story. They can't mess with that, right? Unless, oh boy, here's the geek coming out. Remember when Indy puts the sandbag down as he takes the idol and he thinks he's good? Then the sand drops anyway? Maybe it's because it was actually perfect, but they went back in time and was like, no, we've got to do something to stop whatever the case may be. I don't know. Maybe that's a bigger picture in the story. We just ain't get there yet. So that's one of my crazy conspiracy theories for that. Another one is, does Indy actually de-age in this movie? Or is it all flashbacks? I don't know. Maybe it's all flashbacks. I hope it's all flashbacks. But it feels like an Indiana Jones movie, but it doesn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. All I know is that movie comes out in 2 months, and I am stoked about it. I am stoked. I want to see this movie. I can't wait to see this movie. I'm a fan. This should be the last movie. Absolutely. This should be it. There should be no more Indiana Jones movies after this. And that's not necessarily saying me. That's not me saying I want him to die. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that trope in modern cinema. Especially when you go back to movies from the 70s, the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to resurrect a franchise just to kill off the franchise player. Zero. I honestly, I understood why they did it for Han Solo, but I still hated that. I hated it. I'd have been like, nah, man, you're going to stay alive. That's the bottom line. Here's all the money in the world, Harrison Ford, but you ain't going nowhere yet. We're going to tell this story. You can play a big character in the background. Yo, take this $30 million payday for 10 minutes of fucking screen time, please. That's what I would have done. But I ain't nobody. I'm just a dude over here right now spouting his nonsense on YouTube. I love it, though. But this should be the end of Indiana Jones, and they should not kill Indiana Jones off. Honestly, he should ride off into the sunset. That's what made Last Crusade so great. Because literally, it was him riding off into the sunset with his peeps, with his cast of characters. And it was a perfect way to end that movie. Now, end the franchise. Like I said, I have no gripes with Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. I love it. I do. Was it necessary? No. But I don't think it was a bad fit for an Indiana Jones movie. I think it absolutely was on par with an Indiana Jones movie. It really was. Hell, in this trailer, he even says, I have seen a couple of things that you wouldn't believe. Hell, he said, I've been tortured by voodoo. That was perfect. Shout out Temple of Doom right there, bro. You call him Dr. Jones doll. Shout out my man Wayman from Everything, Everywhere, Always, whatever that movie's called. I love that movie. I should know the title. Playing Short Round back in the day. My guy. Loved it. Happy for him, man. But, shit. Yeah, this Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I tell you, man. Needs to be the end. There's no reason to continue this. It was funny. I thought if you were going to do Indiana Jones, you got to go back and do like older, Adventures of Indiana Jones, not older, younger adventures. You know what I'm trying to say. Before Harrison Ford is where he's at right now in age. But I sit and I think about that and I go, well, who would you cast? One, right? This is the first part. The second part is more important, but the first part. Who would you cast? And in my head, I was always thinking, well, Chris Pine. Like, I love this. Not Chris Pine. Chris Pine is great, by the way. Shout out Dungeons and Dragons. Holy shit. That movie was fun. But Chris Pine, I don't see him fit in the bill for Indiana Jones. So that was a slip up on my part. I meant Chris Pratt. Because I like Chris Pratt. I do. But then I'm like, no, you know what? It's not Indiana Jones I see Chris Pratt portraying. Yet I see him portraying another treasure hunter. Chris Pratt should have been Nathan Drake in Uncharted. Chris Pratt should have been Nathan Drake. That to me was a better fit. And I love Tom Holland. Again, great actors, bad movies. It's not their fault. Can't blame them. Can't blame them. Unless you know they took it for the money. Unless you know they took it for the money. I don't think that was the case with Uncharted. It was just a bad movie. It didn't turn out the way they thought it was gonna. It's a bad movie too. It is bad. I ain't like it. I was mad. I was like, oh, it's terrible. Chris Pratt would have been a better Nathan Drake. So then you say, well then, who the hell would play a young Indiana Jones? And after Chris Pratt, I'll be honest, I got nobody. I've got nobody. Which brings me to the second point, and this is probably the point that we should focus on more. Does there really need to be any continuing adventures of Indiana Jones? Think about it. Where we're at right now with this last movie coming up, what major milestone moment did he have in between? Because remember, if I'm not mistaken, Temple of Doom, I think, supposed to be before Raiders of the Lost Ark in Indy's timeline. I think that's how that happened. I remember I was always confused about that. And then Last Crusade was Last Crusade. We know that was like the end game and stuff. Because we see, he already done his thing. And then Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, obviously, Indy's older. So yeah, no, this is definitely a further adventure. But where in between, let's say, Last Crusade and Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls can you go? That this movie apparently is already, going. And that is important to me. That is where I'm like, yeah, it's done. We're finished. We don't need to make any more. I mean, because you don't. You really don't. You can let a franchise go without rebooting it. You can let a franchise go. Something as successful as Indiana Jones, this is a good time to say goodbye. It's a good time. So I would totally, this would be it. I don't know how much Disney is going to want to try to milk it for all it's worth, but I think, in all honesty, if they're smart, this is it. This is where we call it quits. This is where we call it. Number 5, different director. Harrison Ford is not getting any younger. No matter how much you can de-age him on screen, this is it. This should be it. We should be able to say goodbye to Indiana Jones, let him ride off into the sunset, get everybody happy, and call it. But man, this trailer was dope. The trailer was dope, and I love that they were playing the Rolling Stones. Oh God, what was the song with the Please allow me to introduce myself. The song with the devil. He's the devil. We all know he's the devil. But then at the end, it starts turning into the Indiana Jones theme. Are you kidding me, man? That's freaking crazy. Oh. Massive props. Crazy that shit was shown at Star Wars Celebration because of Lucasfilm. Just goes to show, bro. Lucas has done his damn thing. He's a goat. He is a goat. Creatively, he's a goat. He's a goat. There's only one other person, in my opinion, and I might be wrong. There's only one other person, in my opinion, that could match not match, I wouldn't say match, but comes close, compares to George Lucas as far as creating universes. And that's James Cameron. It really is. Then you look at Terminator 1 and 2, and then look at the Avatar movies. Alright? Like, he created those universes. Granted, Terminator 3 wasn't good. Salvation wasn't a good one. I do like Genesis, but I am like the only one. So I understand. And then Dark Fate, which I should watch again. But you look at what he's doing with the Avatar movies, man. Listen, that first Avatar movie, I don't care what anybody says. Pocahontas with Smurfs. So what? It works. You know why I know it works? Because it was the highest grossing movie of all time for a very long time. And then this one comes out 10 some odd years later. More than that. Ridiculous. Makes $2 billion. Come on, man. 3-hour long movie in the water. It's like crazy, man. It's crazy. So yeah, George Lucas to me is the GOAT. James Cameron, he's there. Guillermo del Toro. I gotta put him in there. As far as creators go. Directors is a whole nother story. George Lucas couldn't hold a candle to any of those. He just couldn't. That first Star Wars movie, I give him all the props in the world. That first A New Hope, yes, fine, I love it. But that prequel trilogy, man, listen. We know who directed the best scenes in that movie. We know Spielberg was on it. We know. It's been said. I don't recall it's ever been said what he directed, but we know he directed. He went in. He said, "Oh, this might be the last Star Wars movie. Let me get a piece of that action." Shit. For all we know, he did the fucking scene where Palpatine is talking to Anakin while the Mount Cal are having their ballet dance in the freaking water sphere. That would be hysterical if that's what Spielberg directed. I lose my shit. That's funny. That is funny. I'm picking up a faint signal here real quick. Let me just check it real quick. Okay, yeah. Brother Chase is sending me, oh, the cool Dungeons and Dragons poster with the fat dragon. That movie's good. If you haven't seen Dungeons and Dragons, I suggest checking it out. It's not bad at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think if you're a Dungeons and Dragon player like JR, we did a review of that in John Wick that dropped earlier this week. Not earlier this week. Saturday. It dropped Saturday. Nope, it dropped Friday. JR knows Dungeons and Dragons. He's played it, so he really, really, really liked it. I've only ever played like the Intellivision back in the 80s, Dungeons and Dragons, and it was like a first-person dungeon crawler, so you don't get the feel of it, you know? But I digress. I just want to go on record and say, Palpatine, the Emperor, Chancellor, Senator, Supreme Chancellor, whatever you want to call him, resurrected Sith Lord, is the greatest Star Wars villain of all time. It ain't Darth Vader. I don't care. Darth Vader's second. But something about Palpatine, bro. Palpatine is it. Think about what that man has done. He manipulated the entire events of Star Wars. He did it. And his dumb ass should have seen it coming. That he was going to get betrayed. I think he did. He had to. Right? He had to have seen Vader betraying him once or twice. I don't go by the comic book lore that Marvel's doing that's supposed to be, you know, all canon. I don't care. Although there's a couple of books in there that are really good. I can't lie. Vader Down is a good one. That's a damn good one. But, yeah, I just want to throw that out there because I saw Ian McDiarmid on the stage during this weekend celebration. And I was just like, yeah, he's the best. Now, that's what I wanted to say. Ugh. As a Star Wars fan. And this is fucked up. But I gotta say it. I don't care. I watched, again, so like, I didn't even know it was like Star Wars Celebration weekend, right? So, after all was said and done Friday, they put out the entire live stream, right? And it was like 4+ hours, 5+ hours, maybe even 7, I don't know. So I was like, all right, let me go and I'll watch it. Like, I'll put it on as background noise right now while I do what I'm doing. And I put it on. And good God Almighty, listen, it's cringe. This stuff needs to stop. It's not like a Comic-Con panel, and that's what they try to make it. It's not. And honestly, not trying to spit ill here, but I have to. The hosts are terrible. They are terrible. They cannot get the audience. They can't connect. There's none. It's terrible. It is forced in every, and that's not a joke. It's not a joke, although it's funny. But it is forced in every fucking way imaginable. Holy crap, get it out. It's forced, and it's terrible. And you can see it. They're like, the fake laughing, the fake excitement. It's not real. It's not real. It drives me bonkers. It's like, dude, listen, I'm not saying I'm going to be a host for Star Wars Celebration, but you put me on a motherfucking panel, and I guarantee you, I'll command the damn audience attention. They'll have it. What you want? Let's go. Where you at? It's Star Wars. What are we here for? We need to see something, right? No, let's get it. Let's get it. No, this shit was all fake. Like, oh, it's Star Wars. Ha ha, yay. No, yay. Get out of here with that shit. My child, for the past several months, I'm not making this shit up, has been running around saying, yippee. My child is 19 years old. And I'm going, where the fuck, why are you saying yippee? Is it because of Star Wars? Like, is it little Anakin Skywalker? What the fuck? She's like, no. And it drove me crazy because I can't deal with like baby talk like that, right? It makes me crazy. So now every time she does it, I hear yippee, I go, Kaye, motherfucker. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it, right? This is where I be in the Star Wars convention panels where give me the damn hosting job. I do all of their damn jobs. It's bad. It's bad. And you don't even have to take my word for it. Just put that shit on YouTube. Just look at it. Just watch them. They're forcing everything. It's so fake. And I can't say that they're not legit fans. I absolutely 100% believe they are. I just think they don't know what they're doing. Now, they might know today's Star Wars, but again, we wouldn't be here without yesterday's Star Wars. Oh, I know yesterday's Star Wars. I know yesterday's Star Wars. You want to go, let's go. This is a problem. This is a problem. To the point where they would have panels, and then you introduce your guests. Here comes Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Yeah! And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what they're going to talk about. Like, I'm interested. I want to know. But you can see the guy in the corner trying to amp the crowd up because it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. And the crowd is just, I mean, they're cheering, but you can see this guy trying to make them cheer even harder. My man, listen, you can't do that, man. Chill the fuck out. Relax. Dude, relax. I don't know what you're trying to think that... We're a bunch of nerds and geeks. This ain't WrestleMania. Stop. You got to reassess what you're doing. You have to. Somebody get me Bob Iger's number. Call him up for me and be like, yo, Bob, this guy G1 on this whack-ass YouTube channel that nobody watches. Now, I can't lie. We actually got 301 subscribers now. I want to say thank you to every single one of y'all. I can't believe that even happened. I went to bed one day. It was like 2:50. I woke up, it's 3:01. I said, what? How'd that happen? I haven't put a video out in like 3 weeks. It's crazy. I digress. But you can't have people who only know today's Star Wars. And I mean, maybe you can. Maybe that's what they want. But I felt awkward, man. I felt bad for them. I felt bad for the people coming out on a panel. I felt bad for the creators. Like, this is what we're doing? Like, I would have felt bad being in the audience. Yeah, they're cheering, they're having a good time at Star Wars, but they're not getting nothing. You get the Ahsoka trailer. You get the Acolyte stuff. They didn't show any of that, by the way. I think that was an exclusive for them. But I wasn't even excited for that anyway. I really wasn't. The Skeleton Crew, it's all right, whatever. But that's me. That's me. My Star Wars lies in the legacy characters. And Ahsoka, make no mistake about it, is a legacy character now. She really is. She was there with legacy characters like Obi-Wan and Anakin. She's a legacy character. So in that regard, the whole Rebels cast, they're legacy characters because they were there with Darth Vader. They were there with Princess Leia. They were there with Ahsoka. Legacy characters. So when I see something like, Skeleton Crew and The Acolyte, when I see a trailer, and I'm pretty sure it's going to look good, I'll give it a shot. But right now, I'm not into it. I don't care. So when you have these presenters and shit like all up in it, like these hosts, I don't know, man. It just comes off as fake. It's fake, man. It's phony. It's phony. It's phony. Fucking I watched, and I can't lie. I don't know any of their names. I can't lie. I only know the people coming out for the panels because of the creators and the actors. I know them obviously, but I can't tell you who was hosting. I don't know their names. But there was a young lady, beautiful young lady, who had Hayden Christensen coming up to the stage. And I just said WrestleMania, they literally had his entrance like a fucking wrestling entrance. It was crazy. There was all this pomp and circumstance, and then the doors open with the smoke and everything, and then he comes out, and he got it, man. The pop he got was huge. It was legit. It was real. I felt it. The crowd loves him. The crowd loves him. It's like they know, yo, you got a bad rap. This is what I talk about. It's not about the actors or the actresses. It's about the stories being told. It's about the writing. It's about the directing. You can't blame them. I can't blame Daisy Ridley for nothing. If anything, she overachieved with what she had to work with. Can't blame her. Can't blame Hayden Christensen. He was Wood. Absolutely. He was Wood. That doesn't take away nothing from Revenge of the Sith, where that kid was, I loved him. I loved him. Even that little tear, whether it was real or eye drops, it doesn't matter. When he turned Darth Vader and killed everybody and turned to the camera with a tear in his eyes, I don't care. If it was real or eye drops, I don't care. It was dope. His exchange with Padme, when she lands on Mustafar, I loved it. His face when he seen Obi-Wan, and that's what, I swear to God, listen. There are Star Wars moments, and then there are Star Wars moments, okay? Everybody knows that I Am Your Father is probably the greatest Star Wars movie moment of all time, and justifiably so, because it was a swerve nobody seen coming, right? Nobody seen that coming. But my second favorite Star Wars moment of all time is Obi-Wan Kenobi standing at the top of the ramp of that ship, of Padme's ship on Mustafar, with his fucking hands, his fist at his hip in the superhero pose. I'm telling you, for crying out loud, that is the second greatest Star Wars moment of all time. That pose is perfection. Perfect. I love it. I love it. I fucking love it. But yeah, it doesn't come close to I Am Your Father. That's great. That is great. That is great. What's my third favorite moment? Now that I think about it, moments. It's probably Luke losing it. My third favorite moment is Luke losing his shit. Return of the Jedi, greatest Star Wars movie in my book. Darth Vader taunting Luke when Luke went and hit on him. Talking all this stuff, your feelings, I feel them all. They betray you, your sister. So, you have a twin sister. Man, Luke is trying to keep it together. You can see him. He's even breathing. He's taking breathing like he's in labor. He's doing it. He's like, no, I ain't going to let it go. Nope, I ain't going to let it go. Nope, I ain't going to let it go. And he says, if you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will. And Luke Skywalker comes out that corner like, no! Man, forget it. And that was it. Third best moment in Star Wars. That was it. Oh, God, yeah. Those are my three. Anyhow, back to Hayden Christensen. He comes out to such an ovation. It was insane. And he to me, he definitely is justified. And it's not because of the Obi-Wan show. It's because, you know what? The kid got a bad rap in the early 2000s. He got a bad rap. From 2002 to 2005. He had a bad rap. And that shit, that stigma stuck with him. It stuck with him. Think about it. Because after that, what has he done? I think he did 3 movies. One of them was probably one of those commercial type movies. Like supposed to be a blockbuster, Jumper. And then anything else he did was very indie type films. Very low budget Hallmark type movies. And it's fucked up. That kid's star should not have been diminished because of poor direction from George Lucas. Even though he was in the greatest franchise of all time. So he got this dope ovation. And then he sits down and talks to the host. And, you know, the host got their questions prepped. And the host, to me, I think at this point, she actually did a damn good job. She did a good job. She was fangirling. She was geeking out. And I respected that. She had said that she had a poster of him as Anakin in her locker in high school. So that was funny. And you know what? Whether that's true or not, I don't care. But just to say that, if it is true, just to give that visual, I'm like, rock on, girl, this is where you're at now. You know what I'm saying? You get to interview this dude. But then it gets awkward, and it's not because of the interview. It's because of the crowd standing around. I'm going to tell you exactly what the problem is here. And this is why I think they need to stop it. This isn't a Comic-Con. But y'all treating it like a Comic-Con. Y'all got to stop treating it like Comic-Con. Okay? People go to these things and you bring these people out and they get all excited. Hayden Christensen was just Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan series. You know what these people are waiting for? They're waiting for him to say something important like, yo, I'm coming back in season 2. Or, yo, I'm coming back as Darth Vader in such and such show. That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for information. They could fucking care less about what it was like playing Darth Vader and Anakin again. They could care less. They honestly could care less. And if you don't, listen, you don't have to take my word for it. Just watch it. You see how dead it is. After the initial pomp and circumstance, it's flat. It's flat. They're waiting for something. They're waiting for something to sink their teeth into. And this has happened not only with that, the damn Ian McDermott one, when oh my God, Ian McDermott came out, it crushed me. The host, she was fumbling. She was bad at her job. And you can see it like they're trying to get a pop from the crowd after the fact and it's not working and it's like, it's bad. It's bad. It's not good. It's embarrassing. You got to stop that. Stop treating it like Comic-Con. Stop bringing the same people out constantly over and over. As much as we love them, let them chill. Now, I can't say nothing because they're getting a paycheck to do nothing. But at the same time, listen, only bring them out if we're going to announce something. Only bring them out if we're going to announce something. Hell, I watched Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. 2 of my favorite creators of Star Wars right now because they're giving me the type of Star Wars I want. Post Return of the Jedi. Legit post. Like, within 5 years of Return of the Jedi. That era is what I want to see, and they're giving it to me. And even then, it was kind of like hit and miss. They're hanging off of every fucking word. And that, rightfully so, because these are the creators. These are the people who are giving us more Star Wars, and they want to know what they're going to say. But are they going to say anything here is the question. And it was evident. You could see it. It was bad. The host with that, I forgot the guy. I don't know the guy's name, right? In the beginning of Star Wars Celebration Day 1, I hated that kid. I was like, he's terrible. He was the real reason why I was like, why are these people so cringeworthy? But I got to give props where props was due. He did a damn good job during that interview. A damn good job. I thought his questions were perfect. I thought everything about like his interactions with Filoni and Favreau were perfect. He was on point. But his day 1, like that very beginning, I I think he was overdoing it. I think he was a lot of that faking the funk shit. Nah, if you're there, man, gotta be like me, man. You got to feel it. You got to be in the moment. You got to have the people feel it through you. Literally. You got to let the force flow through you. Don't read off a script. Go off script. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Success, trust me. All right, last thing on the list, and then we're going to get out of here. I didn't think I'd be talking for this long. I didn't know I could talk this long by myself. My wife probably thinks I can. She probably knows so, but I didn't think. But last thing on the list, I want to talk about the major announcement, of 3 new Star Wars movies coming. Okay? 3 new Star Wars movies. That had me open. I said, here we go. One of them is being written and directed by James Mangold. James Mangold right now he's doing Indiana Jones, right? James Mangold to me is known for The Wolverine and Logan, my favorite X-Men movie. Now is it? No, it's still X2. X2 is my favorite X-Men movie, then Logan. I love that movie. Just found out that not only is James Mangold going to be writing and directing a Star Wars movie, but at the same time, he's going to be writing The Swamp Thing. I don't know if it was a movie or a TV show. I think it's a movie coming out for DC. Swamp Thing is my second favorite DC character. It's Batman, then Swamp Thing. I love Swamp Thing. I love Swamp Thing. I do. So I was extremely excited because James Mangold is doing Indiana Jones. He did Logan, right? Oh, and I just want to say real quick, as far as my top shelf movies and shit, I don't have any superhero movies up on my top shelf because there's too many of them that I really love that would deserve to be up there. Logan is one of them, as well as 1989's Batman, as well as Superman 2. But I keep them all on a separate shelf. All my superheroes are on a separate shelf. So that's where Logan and all those, but believe you me, they would be top shelf shit. I love those movies. But Indiana Jones is up there. He's doing that. He's doing a Star Wars movie now. Star Wars is number 1 on my top shelf. I'll tell you, Star Wars Godzilla. That's how it goes. And now he's doing Swamp Thing. I mean, like, come on, man. I can't. This guy right now, his track record for me so far, so good. I love Logan. I can't wait to see what he does with this Indiana Jones. And he's doing Star Wars and Swamp Thing. So I'm excited for that. I don't remember where his movie is set, though. I think it's supposed to be set... Oh, yes. His movie apparently is like the very beginning of the Force or the very first Jedi or some shit like that. So that's interesting. That's interesting. They're playing with shit I have no idea. Fine, you can do that. You can do that. And you can even make contradictions because it's so far dated that it really wouldn't have any effect anything that happened with the prequels, A New Hope, and the sequels. Right? So, I'm okay with that. So I'm looking forward to that. Then you have, and I don't know the director. I can't even say the name. I don't have it written down. I'm sorry. But you have a movie coming out that takes place 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. And Rey is in the movie. Daisy Ridley actually came out on stage. I didn't see that. I saw clips. I don't think they had that presentation. I wish they did because I would watch that. I love Daisy Ridley. I love her. I do. But it takes place 15 years after Rise of Skywalker. And I think she is basically... She's like what Luke was doing. Bringing the new Jedi Order into fruition. Here's my theory with that. I think they're going to do the new Jedi Order set of books and introduce the use of Vong. Now, if they do that, I'm all aboard. I am all aboard because you can absolutely pull that off now with Rey. And it would honestly kind of mimic where Luke was at that time in his, with his new Jedi Order. I think it was like 15, 20 years after Return of the Jedi, when the Use of Vong invaded. That would be great. I am so fucking with it. Unless it's a one-off movie. Because I don't think they ever announced it was the beginning of a trilogy. They just said we have 3 movies in the works. James Mangold's First Jedi trilogy. First Jedi trilogy, my bad. First Jedi movie. The Rey movie, where it's 15 years after Rise of Skywalker and her, with a new Jedi Order. And then the culmination of 20 plus years of work. Dave Filoni is getting his Star Wars movie. And it is basically the Avengers Endgame of the Star Wars universe when it comes to the television shows. It is the culmination of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka. I don't know where the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew fit in. I don't know if that's a part of it. But those 3 shows are definitely a part of this one show. It can't be Andor because we know where his story ends. And it obviously can't be Obi-Wan because, well, they've been gone for a very long time too. At that point in time, even though Vader had just pretty much been destroyed. But it's the culmination. So basically everything we're getting now in these shows, it's going to culminate in a movie that Dave Filoni is directing. I'm going to tell you this right now. I believe with all my heart that movie is going to be akin to The Last Command. That movie is where we will see the fall of Grand Admiral Thrawn. And if that turns out to be true, then I'd be a fucking happy Star Wars fan. I'd be the happiest Star Wars fan. The only problem, and this is the biggest issue they face, the biggest challenge, is as dope as Mando is, right? The Mandalorian character, as cool as he is, as dope as Ahsoka is, there is someone in that universe at that time, right now, that we have seen and we know and we love, that is in the way of them becoming the greatest, and that man is Luke Skywalker. So you absolutely need to nail whoever is going to play Luke Skywalker, because if he's not in that movie, then this shit is whack. I'm sorry. Because we all know he needs to be in this movie. Because he is around. He is not running from nothing. It is Luke Skywalker. He needs to be there. Especially if it has to deal with the Jedi. You could get away with not showing Han Solo. You could kind of skimp on maybe not showing Princess Leia, although I think that would be a mistake. She should be there some way, somehow. I wouldn't be surprised if she pops up in one of these random episodes where Luke's there training her. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm telling you right now, Luke Skywalker needs to be in that movie. If not, it's over. And then maybe, just maybe, I do like all those other crazy people and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't really need Disney Plus anymore. I got the movies I wanted on DVD and Blu-ray. I got what I need. I don't need none of this. Click. And I save myself, whatever, $15, $20 a month. But that's it. That'll do it for this episode of oh my God, I was going to say Godzilla Block Party. I got Godzilla on the brain. I'm going to watch a Godzilla movie right now. I don't know what I'm going to watch. All I know is I want to say thank y'all if you stayed with me this long. Thank you for letting me ramble about Star Wars Celebration. Again, it is, I respect it. There are things that need to change about it. I don't think it's necessary, honestly. You can save this shit for Comic-Con and all. In all likelihood, that's where it should go. But I do respect the idea of celebration. But since you already have Star Wars Land and Disney theme parks, you just, do all the fun stuff there. But I'm out of here. This will do it for this episode of The Geek Out. I am G1, and again, I'm out of here. Peace.